Lewis Hamilton finished fourth at the Belgian Grand Prix. That is the number on the timing sheet. It is not the number that defines what happened at Spa-Francorchamps this weekend. The number that defines it is 5. 5 separate FIA investigations or incidents involving Ferrari across a single race weekend. A tyre return procedure breach between FP1 and FP2, a first-lap collision with George Russell that earned a 5-second time penalty, an unsafe release in the pit lane that could yet cost Hamilton another position in the final classification, a contact between Leclerc and Piastri that was investigated and cleared, and the rebuild required after Hamilton's FP3 crash at Fagnes, the same corner where Gasly had crashed the day before. 5 incidents. 1 weekend. At a circuit where Leclerc was leading the race until lap 34, where a strong Ferrari result for both drivers was conceivable before the first lap was complete, and where Hamilton's specific actions and Ferrari's specific operational failures together converted a potential race-winning opportunity into a weekend that extended Antonelli's championship lead from 25 points to 45. That 20-point swing, from a world in which Hamilton finished second or third behind or alongside Leclerc, with Russell scoring points, to the world in which Russell retired on lap 1 and Hamilton finished fourth with a penalty, is the specific cost of what happened at Spa. And the reason it matters beyond this single weekend is the pattern it reveals. Not just about Hamilton's 2026 season, about what Ferrari still does not have that Mercedes has had all year. Subscribe. This is the analysis that goes beyond the headline. Start with the tyre return breach, because it is the incident that most coverage has ignored, and it sets the tone for how Ferrari approached this weekend operationally. Between FP1 and FP2, Ferrari electronically registered the return of 2 sets of dry-weather tyres for both Hamilton and Leclerc. The physical tyres were not returned to Pirelli before FP2 began. Article B6.4. 2 of the sporting regulations requires both the electronic registration and the physical return. One without the other constitutes a breach. Ferrari were investigated. It is the kind of operational detail that championship-winning teams do not miss. Mercedes have not been investigated for a procedural tyre return breach at any point in the 2026 season. It is one incident, one Friday, one investigation that ended without significant penalty. But it is a signal about the operational bandwidth Ferrari is working with, a team that is simultaneously developing the most aggressive upgrade program in the paddock, managing 2 drivers with very different car philosophies, and navigating the operational complexity of a season where every weekend produces new regulatory challenges. The first lap collision with Russell is the most visible incident, and also the most complicated to analyze fairly. Hamilton came out of Eau Rouge behind Russell and began to close the gap approaching Les Combes. Russell, attempting to protect his position, moved to the outside. The 2 made contact at the apex. Russell spun into the gravel. Hamilton continued, damaged. The stewards found Hamilton at fault and issued a 5-second time penalty. Russell's immediate radio message, "Racing incident," reflects how first-lap contact is historically treated by the FIA. The stewards disagreed. What is not in dispute is the consequence. Russell retired on lap 1. He was 25 points behind Antonelli going into the race. He is 50 points behind Antonelli going into the summer break. That 25-point swing in a single contact is the most significant individual event of the 2026 championship season so far, not because of the contact itself, which was marginal, but because of what Russell was carrying into Spa and what Hamilton's car took away from him. The unsafe release is the incident that reveals the most about Ferrari's operational state. Hamilton pitted on the lap where his 5-second penalty was served. After the stop, Hamilton was on the radio asking whether a front wing adjustment had been made during the stop. The Ferrari pit wall confirmed no wing adjustment was made. The mechanic who was in Hamilton's path as the car left the pit box was there for a wing change that had been discussed but not completed. A miscommunication between the pit wall and the crew about whether the adjustment was happening. Hamilton pulled away on the automatic green signal. The mechanic was in the path of the car. Hamilton struck him. The car was released into an unsafe situation, not because the driver made an error of judgment, he responded to the signal he was given, but because the communication between the pit wall, the crew, and the driver about what was happening at that stop had broken down. That breakdown is the Ferrari problem. The timing sheets do not show, not the 5-second penalty, not the contact with Russell. The fact that in a pit stop where multiple things were happening simultaneously, penalty service, front wing discussion, pressure to rejoin quickly, Ferrari's operational communication failed in a way that put a mechanic in danger. The Belgian Grand Prix is not the first time Hamilton has been involved in a penalty or investigation in 2026. It is the most costly. Looking at Hamilton's 2026 season through the specific lens of incidents that have cost Ferrari points or created operational pressure reveals a pattern that is worth examining precisely because it does not fit the simple narrative of either Hamilton is making mistakes or Hamilton is the victim of circumstances. The Silverstone yellow flag investigation, where Hamilton was given a reprimand rather than a time penalty, keeping his podium, was the most recent prior incident. The stewards noted that Hamilton had entered the relevant sector before the yellow flag was shown, that the yellow indication reached him only when he was already near the end of the sector, and that his attention had been occupied by the preceding battle with Russell. The reprimand was appropriate given the specific circumstances, but the circumstance that created it, Hamilton pressing at his absolute limit through a yellow flag zone in the final laps of a race where he was fighting for position, tells you something about how Hamilton is approaching this season. He is not managing the championship from a position of comfortable advantage. He is fighting for every position, taking every opportunity, and occasionally creating or finding himself in situations where the margin between a good result and a compromised one is determined by decisions made under maximum pressure. The same is true at Spa. Hamilton's approach to the Leclerc's braking zone on lap 1, closing on Russell, going for a move that the pace differential justified but the risk profile of lap 1 complicated, is the same competitive instinct that has made him one of the fastest drivers on the circuit all season. The problem is not the instinct. The problem is the specific cost at Spa, where the driver Hamilton made contact with was not a midfield competitor but a championship rival who was directly behind Antonelli in the standings. The FP3 crash at Fagnes adds another dimension. Hamilton ran wide at the exit of the same chicane, where Gasly had crashed the day before, clipping the barrier with his rear right, destroying the suspension, rear wing and floor. Ferrari rebuilt the car in 2.5 hours before Q1. Hamilton said afterwards the car did not feel the same. Whether the crash was a driver error or simply the same trap that caught Gasly 24 hours earlier, the operational consequence fell on Ferrari. A team that rebuilds a car between practice and qualifying is a team operating under additional pressure in the sessions that matter most. Does this pattern constitute a problem Ferrari needs to fix? The honest answer is nuanced. Hamilton's underlying pace has been the strongest in the team all season. His qualifying performance has been consistently stronger than Leclerc's. His racecraft, when the incidents are removed, has been among the best on the grid. The incidents are real, the pattern is real, but the cause is not straightforward, and the fix is not straightforward either. A driver who is fighting for a championship he is behind on points will take risks that a driver managing a comfortable lead would not. Hamilton is not managing a lead, he is chasing one. And the specific risk profile of that chase at Spa, in the early laps with Russell alongside, was always going to produce moments where the instinct to fight created costs that the result could not justify. The championship standings after the Belgian Grand Prix produce a specific mathematical picture that is worth examining without the emotional weight of how it was created. Antonelli leads Hamilton by 45 points. He leads Russell by 50 points. 12 races remain before the end of the season. 25 points are available per race for a maximum of 300 points across the remaining calendar. 45 points is a gap that can be closed. It is not a gap that closes easily. Hamilton needs to outscore Antonelli by approximately 4 points per race across the remaining 12 Grands Prix to close it entirely by Abu Dhabi, a pace of recovery that is possible if the upgrade steps arriving at Zandvoort and Monza deliver what Ferrari's engineers expect, but that requires Antonelli to simultaneously produce worse results than he has managed across the first half of the season. Antonelli has not produced a bad result since Monaco. His Spa victory, obtained by hunting down Leclerc after the virtual safety car and overtaking him around the outside on the Kemmel Straight on lap 34, was not a result gifted by Russell's retirement alone. It was a result that required Antonelli to manage Verstappen in the opening laps, to read the virtual safety car strategy correctly, and to execute a pass on Leclerc under significant pressure in one of the highest speed sections on the circuit. The driver leading the championship is not leading it by accident. The Ferrari operational problem, the pit communication breakdown that created the unsafe release, the tyre return procedure breach, the pattern of incidents involving Hamilton, does not have a technical fix arriving in Hungary. The third aerodynamic package and the second ADUO token address the performance gap to Mercedes. They do not address the operational maturity gap that became visible this weekend. Operational maturity is not a component that can be homologated. It is not a token in a regulated development program. It is built through process, through the kind of relentless operational review that championship-winning teams conduct after every incident, every weekend, every session. Mercedes has that process. It is why Russell's radio message at the Belgian GP, "not good enough," referred to his own performance rather than the team's. The team did not let Russell down at Spa. The team's management of Antonelli's race, the pit strategy call, the energy deployment at the restart, all of it worked. The failure at Spa was in the Ferrari car and the Hamilton incidents, not in Mercedes operations. Building that operational standard at Ferrari, while simultaneously running the most aggressive upgrade program in the paddock, is the specific challenge that Fred Vasseur has described as Ferrari's primary focus for the second half of the season. The fix is coming. It is not a single component, a single race, or a single update. It is a process that Silverstone started, and that the remainder of the 2026 season will either confirm or complicate. Hungary next, Ferrari's strongest circuit on the calendar. The one Vasseur identified from the start of the year as the venue where the SF26's chassis advantage should be most visible. The operational reset that Spa demanded will have to happen in 9 days. Whether it does will determine not just the Hungarian Grand Prix result, but whether the second half of 2026 belongs to the team with the fastest car, or the team that knows best how to use it. The Belgian Grand Prix produced a result that the timing sheet summarizes in 4 characters, P4. What it does not summarize is the 20-point championship swing caused by a first-lap collision, the operational breakdown that put a mechanic in danger during a pit stop, the Tyre procedure breach that opened the weekend under FIA investigation, and the pattern of incidents that has now appeared at Silverstone and Spa in consecutive weekends. Hamilton's underlying pace is not the problem. The SF26's performance at Spa, Leclerc leading until lap 34, without the Macarena Evo or a confirmed FTM removal, Ferrari fastest through the corners all weekend. The car that was supposed to be most exposed by Spa's long straights running second when Antonelli overtook, confirms that the car is already good enough to lead this race. The problem is the gap between how good the car is and how effectively Ferrari is converting that goodness into championship points. That gap has 2 components. The first is the performance gap to Mercedes that Zandvoort's third aerodynamic package and Monza's second ADUO token are specifically designed to close. That fix is confirmed, timed, and coming. The second is the operational gap, the pit communication, the procedure management, the incident pattern that no upgrade token addresses. Hungary is 9 days away. Ferrari have identified it since the beginning of the year as their best circuit. The operational reset that Spa demanded will have to happen before the Hungaroring's first practice session. Whether it does is the most important question Ferrari faces going into the summer break. More important than the Zandvoort package, more important than the ADUO2 token, more important than the championship mathematics. Because none of those things matter if the team that builds the fastest car cannot yet consistently convert what the car is capable of into what appears on the timing sheet.